Hello and welcome to marketing91.com. In this video, we are going to cover the topic on monopoly and monopolistic markets. Let's start with the introduction to monopoly. A market comprising a single seller selling a unique product in the market is monopolistic. In a monopoly market, the seller by definition has no competition because there is no other seller of goods with a close substitute. Features of monopoly are: first, single seller; second, no close substitutes; third, no entry; fourth, no distinction between firm and industry; and fifth, downward sloping and less elastic demand curve. Moving on, a monopolist can raise sales by cutting price. If the monopolist controls price, the quantity sold depends on the demand in the market. Demand is less elastic owing to the lack of close substitutes, because of which the cross elasticity of demand is almost nil. The steeper demand curve implies that a price change influences sales only marginally, indicating low demand elasticity. Moving to short-run equilibrium, a monopolist can control either price or output, but not both simultaneously. A monopolist decides output based on equilibrium conditions, that is, point E, where MC intersects with MR. In the case of excess profit, output is equal to OQ, price is equal to OP, total revenue is equal to OQTP, total cost is equal to OQSN, wherein TR is greater than TC, excess profit is equal to NSTP. In the case of loss, a monopolist is not guaranteed excess profit, and such an entity may even operate at loss. A monopoly firm incurs fixed and variable cost. It is essential to cover variable cost to ensure the firm can function. Their output is OQ, price is OP, total cost is equal to OQTL, total revenue is equal to OQSP, total fixed cost is equal to NMTL, total variable cost is equal to OQMN, where total variable cost is greater than total revenue. Thus, loss is equal to PSTL. Please note, the loss is only a part of TFC. The fact that the firm's total revenue is greater than TVC enables it to not only cover its TVC but also cover a part of its total fixed cost, which is NMSP. Moving to the long-run equilibrium. In the long run, a monopoly firm makes all required adjustments. Given that all costs can vary in the long run, the firm's total revenue should be equal to its total cost. Long-run equilibrium output is produced at the point where the long-run marginal curve intersects with MR. In the long run, a monopolist firm usually earns excess profit. Thus, the long-run output of the firm is equal to OQ, price is OP, total revenue is OQTP, total cost is equal to OQSN, total revenue is greater than total cost, thus excess profit is NSTP. It is likely that a monopolist may settle for normal profit only. Insufficient product demand may lead to such an outcome. Now let's look at the distinction between perfect competition and monopoly. First, number of sellers. In case of perfect competition, it is large. In terms of monopoly, there is a single seller. Commodity, homogeneous in the case of perfect competition. In the case of monopoly, it is homogeneous or unique. Market position, price taker, price maker. Nature of demand, perfectly elastic horizontal line, where in the other case, less elastic downward sloping. AR and MR. In case of perfect competition, AR is equal to MR. In the case of monopoly, AR is greater than MR. Production, optimum. In the other case, usually less than optimum. Long-run profit, normal. In the case of monopoly, it could be excess. Equilibrium and nature of cost. Equilibrium is possible only under increasing cost, whereas in monopoly, equilibrium is possible only under all cost conditions, increasing, constant and decreasing. Relationship between AR, MR, MC and AC in the long run with normal profit. In case of perfect competition, price is equal to AR, which is equal to MR, which is equal to AC, which is equal to MC. But in the case of monopoly, price is equal to AR, which is equal to AC, which is greater than MC, which is equal to MR. And the nature of price, in case of perfect competition, single price. In terms of monopoly, there can be price discrimination. Moving on to the monopolistic competition. Monopolistic competition is a market scenario in which there are multiple sellers of a particular type of product, but each seller's product is distinct in some way in the consumer's mind. The features of such a market are as follows. First, large number of buyers and sellers. Second, product differentiation. Third, free entry and exit of firms. Fourth, close substitute products. Fifth, firms promote sales by incurring selling cost. And sixth, the demand curve for each firm is downward sloping and comparatively more elastic. Moving on, for an example, multiple popular and seemingly similar soaps are sold in the market like Lux, Hammam, Liril, Johnson, Peers and Dove. Although this paints a picture of perfect competition, the reality is different. All products are different from the others in one or the other. Lux is sold as a beauty soap, Dove as one for soft skin, Liril as a freshness soap, Johnson as a baby soap, and so on. Thus, all brands have their own markets and the overall market is one of monopolistic competition. Moving further, in the short-run equilibrium, a company rests on the following assumption. First, the company is rational. Second, it operates under the U-shaped average cost curve. The demand for its product is downward sloping. That is, quantity sold and price are related inversely. There is no additional variation in the company's products. And finally, in the short run, the company may operate with excess profit, normal profit, or loss. In the case of excess profit, a firm's equilibrium output lies at a point where MC is equal to MR and MC is growing. For total output, OQ and a demand line AR, the price arrived is based on demand and supply is OP, and the price gives the firm the most profit. Any increase in price may cause customers to turn to other substitutes, leading to a drop in total revenue. Lowering the price may bring in additional customers by luring them away from rivals. However, the additional quantity sold may not be enough to generate sufficient revenue to compensate for the loss accrued by lowering prices. Thus, TR is equal to price into output, which is OQ into OP, that is OQMP. TC is equal to average cost into output, which is equal to OQSN. And excess profit is equal to TR minus TC, which means OQMP minus OQSN. As you can see in the figure, it's NSMP. In the case of loss, SSE is located above the demand line AR. The firm's position can be explained as follows. Output is OQ, price is OP, AC is QH, total cost is equal to OQ into OH. As we can see, it's OQHG. Total revenue is equal to OQ into OP, which is OQNP. And finally, the loss area is PNHG. The firm incurs loss because its TC, that is OQHG, is greater than TR, which is OQNP. So long as the firm covers its TVC, it may continue to operate. The firm's TR must not be lower than its TVC. Moving on to the long-run equilibrium. In the long run, a firm that cannot recoup all its costs will cease to operate in the market. Excess profit may be earned by existing firms will draw a greater number of firms producing close substitutes, which would diminish the market share of the existing firms. The demand curves of the existing firms will be lowered and prices would drop as well. Free entry and exit would leave the remaining firms with no more than normal profits. Tangency of A to R at S gives the firm only normal profit, wherein output is OQ, price is OP, AC is QS, total cost is OQSP, total revenue is equal to OQSP. Thus, normal profit is TR is equal to TC. Moving on to the topic of group equilibrium. In monopolistic competition, the concept of industry is not relevant owing to the wide variety of products. However, although these products are from the same industry, they are not in direct competition. A group characterized by monopolistic competition offers products that are close substitutes. It will be in equilibrium in the long run when all group firms earn normal profits. The difference between cost and demand resulting from product differentiation may allow a firm to earn a different profit amount. To avoid such problems, Chamberlain laid down two conditions of heroic assumptions. First, uniformity assumption, that is, both demand and cost curves for all products are same. And second, symmetry assumption, wherein the effects of an individual firm's action in terms of price and output adjustment are negligible on its rivals. Thank you.